This was a prayer. This supreme existence, the way it gets activated, actually the medium through which it gets activated, that very power or divine energy is what we refer to as Mata or Shakti, as Tripura Sundari or Ma Durga. In Yoga Shastra and Siddha Yoga, it is called Kundalini. We will try to experience this divine power in this conclave with everyone present here. All of you will be a part of this discussion that we will undertake, and it will be an interactive one. There is a mantra. Mantranam Matruka Devi, Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. Mantranam Matruka Devi, Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. What it means is that in all the mantras, the Matrukas all have special significance. The base is Matruka and the very origin is Matruka. Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnana Rupini. Jnananam Chinmayatita Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini Yasyaha Partaram Nasti Saisha Durga Prakirtita. This is the mantra which many people chant. This is the 24th mantra of the Devi Atharva Shirsh. Our great holy saints and the learned men over the time have observed very deeply the science and then formulated it into different teachings or sutras. One of the sutras is Mantranam Matruka Devi. You will observe that whatever is experienced in this world, whatever is expressed through the medium of words or language. In English we say W-O-R-D, which actually means word. Now in that, if we insert an L, it becomes world, or what we call sansar. The world gets introduced through the medium of words. If somebody asks you, what is human? Then you can say that a collection or group of thoughts is a human or person. When the thoughts get evaporated, what remains is pure consciousness. And to achieve that state of pure consciousness should be everyone's goal in life. And through these matrukas we can reach that state. Mantranam Matruka Devi. You all must have acquired education in your childhood, by virtue of which you are able to read even today and try to understand things. In the Hindi Varnamala, there are 16 swaras, which are like A, E, E, etc. And from K to Ksha is the Vyanjan Mala, which comprises of 36 Vyanjanas and 16 swaras, which collectively form the 52 matrukas through which we experience this world around us. If we want to know about something, we need to have its name for the comprehension. Even shape and form can be expressed through the medium of words. That is why the very basic form or the ultimate power in this world is what we address to as Matruka. Matruka Vandanam Matruka Devi. So wherever you find an introduction of the form or shape of a thing, that is the abode of these matrukas. And these matrukas are nothing else but power. In the everyday life or the normal circumstances, we often find that if somebody abuses someone, then that person often becomes frustrated. He can lose his temper, and two things can happen. If he's a weak person, he will also abuse back. But if he's strong, he will hit the man who abused him and even throw him away. This is the instant result of those matrukas. In this era of democracy, many people get felicitated with Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan and Padma Shri. It's also a magic of the words. You are being given a certificate on which it is written that the President of India is felicitating this great honor and award upon you. Now that becomes enough for you to boast with pride. In another circumstance, if someone really abuses or rebukes you, it's enough for you to lose your mind. Now it's again a play of the matrukas. This is a play of the matrukas, only their expression happens in different realms of the energy, which yields different consequences. Ye mantranam matrukarini. In the mantras, this power that gets infused, this is the supreme power. Even today, science is a testimony to what I'm trying to explain to you. According to science, every atom in its core has a proton, neutron and electron. In the core lie the proton and the neutron, whereas the electron keeps orbiting around. Whenever we feel a disturbance in the core, there is a surgence of power. And this, I tell you, is nothing but power. A very well-known scientist, Albert Einstein, puts across in his theory of relativity that E is equal to mc square. If any mass is multiplied by 1,80,000, then that mass gets transformed into energy, and that energy gets transformed into light. So whatever is visible unto you, it is just a highly concentrated light and nothing else. So this mantra that we have, Mantranam Matruka Devi, you have to understand the essence of what this mantra is trying to convey. Wheresoever you can experience divinity, wherever you experience the surging of power, wherever the chanting of mantras results in the experience of power, know that in all those places, the supreme power reigns visibly or invisibly. Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Gyan Rupini. Now how is that Gyan Rupini? You may think or suggest that this mantra should be phrased in a different manner, like Shabdanam Gyan Swarupini, not Rupini. The meaning of Rupini is that we are comparing it with something. This infinite power can never be compared with anything. It's simply incomparable. Because it's incomparable, so there is no need at all to call it Gyan Rupini. It is Gyan Swarupini. Whatever we experience in our day-to-day life, our education, it's all the acquired knowledge that we have. Whether it is the medicinal science, biology, physics, or it could be chemistry, engineering science, any science that we come across, that we see, that we know, or that we feel in our day-to-day life, it's all a collection of the knowledge that we have acquired, just a library of the acquired knowledge that we have. It is not something that we have experienced and lived by. when this knowledge that you have accumulated settles down, only then your real wisdom awakens. That is why Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini, the words get harmonized in such a way that there is a surgence of huge and infinite power which we address to as Jnana Swarupini. Not as Jnana Rupini, but as Jnana Swarupini, meaning it's the reflection of the knowledge itself. And how is this power activated? Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Anugrahika as well as Nigrahika. This power is in action in these very 5 forms. But how is it in action at the same time in 5 forms? But it all starts with the Ichha or the will. Without the Ichha, there will not be any turbulence within your system. You get up in the morning, feel like having a cup of tea, and you ask someone to provide you with it. Without the Ichha, you would not even get up. Forget about asking for a tea. So what this Ichha actually makes you do, Ichha itself inspires the Gyan or knowledge. Now to fulfill this Ichha, one needs to reveal this Shakti as Gyan Swarup. And when it is revealed as the Gyan Swarup, it is then that the Gyan Swarup now inspires the Kriya Shakti to get that job done. And this is how all our actions get manifested. Ichha, Kriya and Gyan. Ichha, Gyan and Kriya. Do you know what is the difference between God and you? That supreme cosmic power and yourself. Let me explain a little. When that supreme power feels an Ichha, Ichha Shakti is also manifested along with. And with the manifestation of the Ichha Shakti, Gyan and Gyan Shakti also get manifested, along with Kriya and Kriya Shakti. The difference with us is that we do feel the Ichha, but we do not have the Ichha Shakti. There is Gyan, but no Gyan Shakti. There is a will to do Kriya, but no Kriya Shakti. So as long as you cannot combine these 3 Shaktis, you cannot be one with the supreme cosmic power we call God. There is the same difference that is there in the clerk of an office and the boss of the office. No other difference. It is the very moment when Ichha is accompanied by Ichha Shakti, Gyan is accompanied by Gyan Shakti, and Kriya is accompanied by Kriya Shakti, then any job or activity that you are into gets fulfilled, gets completed. Otherwise, it keeps lacking something. And that is why none of our tasks get really completed. Some or the other factor always keeps lacking behind. What is Adhyatmic Sadhana or spiritual practice, and how to realize your true self? All these powers reside within each of us, but we all are completely ignorant about them. There is a story in Ramayana when Lord Hanuman is told that he will have to go to Lanka, to which Hanumanji replies that I cannot do this because I don't have the powers. I simply cannot fly to there. To this, Jamvat comes over and replies and reminds him very gently that as a small child you flew in the sky to swallow the sun. Indra sent his Vajra or thunderstorm to finally let the sun release from your mouth and shine back in the sky. It was at that time that you were given a curse. The curse was that you will be totally unaware of your powers as long as the work that you have to complete is a godly task. And when the day comes that you are presented with such a godly task, only then will you be introduced and made aware about your powers. When Lord Ram was discussing about this issue with all the other Vanars present there, at that point Sugriv put across his point that only Hanuman can achieve this task and no one else. But when asked directly, Hanuman refused that I cannot do this task at all. To which Jamwant reminds him of his childhood incidents. And it is then that Hanuman recalls his immense powers and feels that yes, I can do this. And once aware about his powers, he totally believes in himself and leaves for Lanka there and then. And that is why, as long as someone reminds us of what we treasure inside ourselves, we are also very similar to that unaware Hanuman. Hanuman had Jamwant with him who shook him up and made him realize. Our great saints also do the same. They keep reminding the unaware Hanuman all the time. They remind him that he has all the powers to achieve anything he wishes to. So Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. Remember I said Swarupini and not Rupini because Rupini is a comparative adjective, so something could be left lacking in meaning. Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. Why? Because the Gyan or the knowledge is about the Swarup. Satchidanand. What does it mean actually? Sat means being, Chit means conscious about yourself and the others, and Anand of course means that eternal state of bliss that you are destined to be in all the time. Satchitanand. Appearing from the earth, absolute, liberated. Kartum akartum manyata kartum. This is a special power. And it is like Jnana Swarupini. That power in itself is a symbol of knowledge. There is no other Gyan. She herself is the Jnana Swarupini. Jnananam Chinmayatita. It means that whatsoever is the Gyan, it is Shakti Swarup, blooming with life, full of consciousness. There is one or the other form of creativity happening continuously all the time. And how's the Chinmayatita? It is ever new, full of life, rooted in self and in absolute freedom. So it says, Jnana Nam Chinmayatita, Shunya Nam Shunya Sakshini. We do have some very learned people sitting right here. Some of you might have studied in physics the topic of quantum mechanics. In this, the form of the power, now all these scientists agree upon the fact that a proton, which is visible over here, it is also visible about 1,00,000 kilometers above in the space. The same, none else, the very same one. When there is a vibration, then a disturbance emerges within the core of that vibration. And by the disturbance of such powers, the movement gets transmitted as waves. And this manifestation in the form of waves is what results in the creation of this eternal universe that we see all around us. That is why with the vibrations come the waves, and Shakti is nothing else but vibrations and waves. So this entire creation of the universe is nothing else but the different permutations and combinations of these waves and vibrations. And that is why it is called as Mantranam Matruka Devi, Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini, Jnananam Chinmayita, Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini. In order to manifest the cosmic existence, there remains a need for some symbols. In our Indian tradition, in our very culture, to express the Purna or the complete, there has been a nomenclature of the Shunya or the void. In the Tantra Shastra, there is a mention of 3 shlokas. There is an Urdhva Shunya, which is experienced right here. There is a Madhya Shunya, which is experienced here. And the Adho Shunya is experienced in the Mooladhar. When all these 3 blend together, that is the time when true knowledge manifests. And she is the Param Satta Jnana Swarupini in this very sense. Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini. Once there was an argument between the Buddhists and the followers of the Shankaracharya. Although it is nothing but different perspectives of understanding. Lord Buddha attained nirvana. He attained sambodhi or salvation. So he was requested to describe what exactly is sambodhi. He remained silent, without uttering a single word. And it is a universal truth that any experience in the inward journey is beyond the realm of the description of the words. Experience cannot be manifested in words. And what is manifested in words or expressed in words is not an experience. Because the very thing is beyond words. After 500 years, people started giving description to his death as the Shunya. So it was interpreted that Lord Buddha had an experience of the Shunya because his silence was equated to being Shunya. So an argument developed about this between the two sects because the Buddhists said that the Sambodhi is an experience of the Shunya. But the followers of the Shankaracharya were not at all willing to accept that this Nirvana is an experience of the Shunya. Their point was that by itself Shunya has no existence. Another entity is required even to prove its presence. Shunya cannot be proved by itself because it is not absolute and complete in itself. Therefore, in order to establish and prove that very Shunya, there is the requirement of another entity. And the entity, in reference to which that Shunya is established or proved, is what we call God or the Supreme Power. I would like to tell you that till the last phase, both Shankaracharya and Buddha maintained their stand, where Buddha was of the opinion that everything is Shunya, Shankaracharya was of the opinion that by itself Shunya is not independent, it needs another entity, which we call God. Buddhists believe in the philosophy of Shunya or void. Jain religion doesn't believe in God. Rest believe that God exists. So we again come to the same point that Shunya has no existence of itself. It always has to have the combination with another entity to make its existence felt. Therefore, there is a form of the Mata, Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini. Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini. This Shunya has a form of witness called the Supreme Power. Whatever you call that Supreme Existence, be it Shiv, Shakti or Mahavishnu, the name doesn't really make any difference. Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini. The Shunya that we are talking about here is the one which needs to have that witness or that Sakshini to have its presence felt by one and all. That's why it is said Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini Yasya Partaram Nasti Saisha Durga Prakirtita. That's what the great saints and scriptures talk about. And it's the experience of the attained ones. Because no one in this world is superior to that power. Our very existence depends on that Shakti or power. And when this power abandons us, then our family, friends and relatives start nagging that it's time, let's go now. Now no one is ready to bear you because that Shakti or power has left you. The Mata has left you behind. When Mata departs, even Lord Shiv becomes a mere corpse. That's why she is called Eka Rupini. Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnanaswarupini Jnananam Chinmayatita Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini. This says that there is a witness to Shunya as well. The one who is a witness to the Shunya is herself Jnanaswarupini. She is absolute and infinite. Such is the Divine Mata. Yasya Partaram Nasti. That is why anyone in this world devoid of this power is simply worthless. He or she has no identity. One who has this power, fame and recognition knock his doorstep. A district magistrate arrives who has not yet taken up the charge. There is not much difference between him and the office boy sitting outside, because he has not yet taken charge. What it means? He has no power. He has no Shakti till then. It is similar to what happens in a handover and takeover of responsibilities. One who hands over the charge leaves and the one who's there in the office takes over, and now this new person has got the authority. In a similar fashion, so long as you are not one with that power, you cannot experience your true self. And let me tell you, this is the uniqueness of this power, that it brings you one-to-one with your own self. Right now, the powers that we have are making us more familiar with the existence outside of us. Like, for example, we have science, we have space science, nanotechnology, computer technology is there. So all these sciences are what make us familiar about the existence outside of us. It is only when we are ready to leave all this outside world, the materialistic inventions, and look within ourselves. That is the moment when a great miracle is about to happen within us. We set out on a quest to find who we are, where we came from, what are we, what is the purpose of our existence here, what is our priority. It's then that we start pondering over all these topics. the inner quest really begins. And it's only then that we enter the realm of dhyan or meditation. A great new research begins. That is why this is the testimony of all the great ones, the saints, the Rishi Munis, the Mahapurush, that except the existence of that power, there is nothing else in this world. Whatever is there, it is this power and nothing but this power. And as long as we don't get introduced to this power, we do not really know our very own self. And that is why, so long as the inner power does not awaken, till then we are incomplete. We are not complete. We are weak. We are timid. We are bound by limitations. As soon as the power awakens within us, the power starts developing, our inner world starts changing. The inner world undergoes a radical transformation. And along with the awakening of this power, all these 72,000 nadis within us also start developing for the better. We experience this power face to face. Many of you have experienced it in meditation here. Some people have a gross experience, whereas the others have a subtle one. Some have an emotional outburst. All these experiences are a play of the power. And this is how this power or Shakti introduces itself to us. And this very Shakti is Svasvarupini, is Jnana-swarupini, is Kriya-swarupini. And it is with the blessings of this power, it is with the grace of this power that we realize our true self. The other name of this very power is Guru Tattva. This Guru Tattva, when appears within ourselves, is what is referred to as the awakening of the Kundalini. When this power awakens in us, that's when the purification of the 72,000 nadis begins. It awakens the prime 6 chakras, gives us the knowledge of our true self and helps us to be stable in that particular state. It introduces us to our true self, and that is why there is nothing else in this world except this Shakti. Even Lord Shiva without this power is lifeless. And that is why to assimilate and to develop this power is the true character of a man. And the reason why this is said is that as long as you don't sit for it, the power does not get active. And if it's passive, there is no self-realization. It is the result of the immense blessings and the grace of your Ishtdev, your noble and great Guru. Because of Shakti Swarupini, we get fortunate enough to experience the inner awakening. And once this process of inner awakening begins, our entire life is full of joy and bliss. Each moment is like a celebration. Each moment appears to be full of the lively colors. We feel as if we are celebrating Holi all the time. Every evening feels bright like Diwali, because we are in true alignment with our real self. Life itself becomes an ongoing celebration, a celebration that we experience along with the awakening of this great power. Grief and sorrow vanish away, and the journey of happiness starts. We get introduced to our true self. That is why mantra naam matruka devi, shabda naam jnana swarupini, jnana naam chinmayatita, shunya naam shunya sakshini, yasyah partaram nasti, saisha durga prakirtita. So in this entire world, except for this great power, there is nothing else, nothing else, nothing else. This is the Jnana Swarupini Shakti, Kriya Swarupini Shakti, Ichha Swarupini Shakti, and the Guru Tattva active within us are all the one and the same. When the Guru Tattva within you awakens, you are showered with boundless, selfless blessings. And the result of this is that the Shishya Tattva within you slowly and gradually starts awakening. The real search begins only when, with the blessings of the Guru Tattva, the Shishya Tattva gets awakened in you. The ultimate benchmark or the climax of the Shishya Tattva is the Guru Tattva itself and nothing else. The incomplete Guru Tattva is the Shishya Tattva, and a complete Shishya Tattva becomes Guru Tattva. So both these Tattvas depend on each other, and there is a very beautiful description of this in the Agam scriptures. The Agam scriptures begin with a conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati. There is a complete Guru, there is a complete Shishya, but for the betterment of the mankind and the society, Mata Parvati takes on the role of the Shishya. She accepts the lack of knowledge within herself and goes on to ask a question to her Param or ultimate Guru. How to get rid of the shackles of this material world? And this particular episode leads to the beginning of all Agam scriptures. And here we come across a very beautiful blend of the Guru and Shishya Tattva in the Agam scriptures. Mata Parvati is herself Jnana Swarupini, and this is what is being said here. Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. Mata Parvati is like this. Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. With such a Guru, lack of wisdom is impossible. She is Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. She herself is the ocean of wisdom. Lack of knowledge can't even touch her. But for the betterment of the humankind and society, she herself agrees to be a disciple and requests Lord Shiva about the way to transcend this world. And this conversation leads to the beginning of the Agam scriptures. Even in the scriptures about the Durga, you will find the same description of Mata. Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnana Swarupini. When you get blessed by her divine presence, all the sorrows and griefs of your life start vanishing. Bliss becomes your second nature. You experience an inner evolution. You start out on an inner journey to realize yourself. There is an effort to come one-to-one with yourself. And this celebration of joy starts right from where you are. People usually ask you to take sannyas. This was a foolishness in older times as well as today. What it means is that if you cannot attain yourself in the midst of your homes, then you won't be able to attain yourself even in the Himalayas. There is no need at all to leave the place where you are. The place you are in, the situation you are in, the condition you are in, is the one that you have to use to understand yourself. Realize yourself. You don't have to be someone. People often try to be someone to achieve themselves. There is no such need. You already are the one you have to be in order to realize your true self. To be someone, people often carry a facade. Just drop it and you will realize who you really are. Understand and experience your very true being. And as soon as we start taking this journey, the unnecessary baggage starts dropping by itself. Realizing the false is the introduction to the truth. Realizing the false is the introduction to the truth. Like when normally the ladies in the houses filter the rice grains of impurities and stones, we say that she's picking up the clean rice grains. So what we can say is that she has the knowledge that what actually is rice and what is not rice. So what is not rice is being separated and thrown away. She would retain the rice grains and throw away just the stones and the impurities away. And it is referred to as the filtering of the rice. Whereas the rice are retained, only the impurities are thrown away, the stones, the other unwanted particles. When we say that we wash clothes, we don't wash clothes, we just wash the dirt and dust on the clothes. When a cloth is brand new, it is free from any dirt and dust that would stick on it. In the washing, we do not wash the cloth itself but the dirt and dust. So washing really is of that dirt and the dust and not the cloth itself. When we clean the utensils, we actually clean off the leftovers sticking to them and not the utensils themselves. In the very same way, when we realize our real self, by understanding what we actually are not, we simply drop it away. And what we are need not be dropped away, it cannot be dropped away. It is our very true nature. Without it, we simply cannot exist. But coming across what we are not is simply enough to drop it away. So then, Mantranam Matruka Devi Shabdanam Jnanasvarupini Jnananam Chinmayatita Shunyanam Shunya Sakshini. So we get an introduction to ourselves through this power only. Be there any religion, be there any sect, be there any tradition, Diksha is a common element everywhere. There is a giver and there is a taker. And even this transaction isn't possible without the witness of this power. What usually happens in our day-to-day lives, when we buy stuff and make purchases, even there is a transaction of money. And here money is the medium of this power. One is giving something, one is taking. It happens in Diksha also. As long as you're not empty, you cannot be filled. So be it any sect, any tradition, any religion, during the Diksha ceremony, the Guru always is the one who gives something. But first he receives something and then he gives away. To fit in new furniture in your home, you need to move out the old one. You cannot place a bed over another bed. You cannot place a new almirah over another almirah. You can't place a new dining table over another dining table. First move out the old one out and then bring in the new one in. In the same way, we do not empty ourselves of the mind, knowledge, wisdom and the ego. So how can the consciousness residing within appear and fully blossom? We may be having some agriculturists sitting here, since this is a country of the farmers. So you all may have visited the fields many times, and if you don't have ones, to your friends. There we have a tube well, usually of 5 or 10 horsepower. If you try to stand in front of the flow of the water from that tubewell, it can throw you well 10 feet away. So even a man of weight 60 to 70 kilograms can be thrown away well over 10 feet away. But the same water, when it reaches the far end of the field, is not that powerful anymore. The force comes down. And that is why our great saints, the Mahapurush, the Rishi Munis have all said that we must shut off the doors to prevent the leakage of the energy. Switching on the pump motor when all the taps of the house are open won't let the water tank fill. First you need to close all the taps, and only then will the overhead tank start to fill up. To get a true realization of your power, you need to stop any wastage of this power. When we close our sensory doors, the wastage of our any power starts ceasing. And the power that is within ourselves, the same power, takes on the form of Kundalini and awakens through the Mooladhara. The element that awakens that energy is the Guru Tattva. And this same mantrana Matruka Shakti or the Matruka Devi gets pleased and showers her divine blessings. You get blessed with Guru Kripa, you get blessed with selfless grace, and through this very medium, the inner process begins, the power awakens.